Hello, my name is Mike Ayley, and I play bass. I'm about to show you about some of my gear. Sound like I'm teaching a high school class or something. It's not very cool. Anyway, bass guitars. On tour I have, this tour in particular, I have 5 with me, because you never know if 4 of them are going to break. You need a few backups. One that is not shown here is a Rickenbacker. That's one of my most loved basses, but the sound doesn't quite fit in with what we're doing right now. These all have really hot outputs. So it's actually better for the front of house sound to have that kind of levels, consistent levels. This is a Fender Mark Hoppus bass, and I love it. It sounds amazing. It's a really consistent bass. Sounds good all the way up the neck. It's affordable too. I mean, if somebody's looking for a first bass that they're going to spend a few bucks on, I'd actually recommend this one to almost everybody. It's about $700 or so, but it's so good that like Josh has one in the studio, Matt has one for when he's just tracking stuff. It's that worth having and affordable. So here's another bass. This is a Thunderbird. Looks like it's 100 years old, but it's about 12. I think it's a 2003. I've modified these pickups to Seymour Duncan's, so it sounds, as I was talking about earlier with the output stuff, so it's similar to the other things. It sounds really good, and this thing got really worked over the first bunch of tours that I took it on. The other ones were just not sounding good anymore anyway. Connections were pretty rough, so I got it all touched up. You'll notice a lot of my basses that I've had for a while have this kind of wear on them. It's from these things, because I'm playing. I love it. It's kind of like my signature wear spot. Everybody has their own. This bass comes to me about 5-6 songs through the show, and it's tuned to drop D, which means this string is actually tuned to D instead of an E. And I use it, start the set with, what's the first song I played with it? Who Do You Love is the first song I played with this, then I played through Stutter and Fallout. This is the current set list anyway. And then tune it back up for One Love and This Means War. These are actually almost in order of how I use them here. This is my most precious bass. It's a Fender Tele. It's a 68, which means this thing is older than anybody working for us. And it sounds amazing. We used this to track a lot of the album. It was either this bass or we actually borrowed one like this from somebody else when we tracked the album. And almost every song was done on it for Astoria. And it sounded so good that I got my own. This is the first year they ever made this bass, which kind of makes it a little bit more collectible. And I am very proud to have it. And I didn't know I was going to love it as much as I did, but as soon as you play it live and it sounds better in your ears than anything you've ever played before, you're like, that's why vintage is so good. The strings, I don't know if I told you, they're D'Addario, they're 45-105, that's the gauge on them. What do I use this for? This is what I normally was starting the set with for the first 5 songs, and I definitely close with it. It's the bass, the actual bass that recorded End of an Era, so I like to have that exact sound. Might have been the one that, well, did almost the whole album, one or the other, but when we were in Philly a few days ago, I popped into this guitar store just across the road from the venue and walked in and saw this. This is a 1978 Gibson RD Artist bass, and it is something that I've been looking for about 10 years. You can find them online, and I wasn't sure about it, but I didn't. Some of them come with a wood finish with the black pickguard, and I love the black on black on this. I think it's a really sexy bass, and has a womanly shape about it, but a little bit of badass edge to it, and it sounds crazy. It's got this, you notice in the back, it's got this huge panel here. There's a whole bunch of electronics in here. It's got like this Moog circuit boards. It's kind of weird, a little bit finicky, so you can have it set to active pickups or passive. I do passive because the active are really noisy and actually the output is too hot. I think it sounds better this way anyway, but it's really grindy. It's got a ton of grit, really dark, but also really consistent levels all the way up and down the neck. And I went in the store, and as long as it wasn't broken, I was like, I knew I was leaving with it. I just had to talk the guy down a couple bucks and pretend I wasn't. This may be my new favorite bass. Anyway, As far as amplifiers go, believe it or not, I don't use one. I used to have, I still have it actually, a huge Ampeg rig, the 8x10 fridge with the SVT Classic. I actually have the Heritage one. It's like an anniversary model. It sounds great, but it's so big. Just hauling it every day is a burden. And then I was having it mic'd, and it was over in Guitar World, and you have to have the mic to pick up the bass frequencies so loud that I was getting so much bleed from the guitars that we were doing an arena run, and I was like what is going on with my ears? I'm getting so much guitars. I was going deaf very quickly. So we tried just using a DI, so there's no mic, but the signal's direct. It's a direct input, and now that's all we use. And we've used it for 100, 200 shows like that now, and it sounds really good. No noise, great signal for the front of the house, great in my ears, and it doesn't piss anybody off when I fool around and people don't want to hear it. They can just turn off their ears. I think that's it for me.